Here we are, another Friday in the garage. Got Swammy here. Got the Soup Daddy in the back. Got our drinks. Ready? End of the week. Nice. And Swammy has been putting in some serious work here today, or this week, I want to say. This guy, above and beyond. Love him. Cheers. Thank you.
Yeah. That's what I'm
really,
here for.
really appreciate all the things you have done. Just to go through the list here, he's been dropping off my wheels with someone that won't destroy them to have the valve stems replaced.
Shouts out to Tim.
Shout out to Tim. He also took care of the new wheel bearing because I had to get a new knuckle due to the one that was ovaled out. If you watched the last video, you'd have the info on that. But, so he's been running around all over the place and putting in some serious work so the Soup Daddy can get back on the road. I want to give a shout out to Gary's in Crestview, Florida, a lovely auto recycler that, for a wonderful deal of $85 plus free shipping, sent me a new used knuckle from a 1997 SC 400. I learned when looking for the knuckle that I could use Supra, SC 300, SC 400, like any year. So that made it super convenient, and I love that. But I'll show you guys what we're working with here today, okay? Here we have the old knuckle and the new used SC 400 junkyard knuckle. Sam was able to get the wheel bearing in. I fortunately ordered all that stuff and it came in time because that had a very rusty and crusty wheel bearing, which I will post a little picture of here. But yeah, got that all set up. And Sam, you want to walk us through kind of what was going on before and what's going on now?
Yeah, well, so the bottom tapered hole in the knuckle that fits onto the bottom ball joint was oblonged and worn out from being loose. So there was some play in it. When you drop it on there, it's not tight on the taper. So now we got the new one. New used anyway. And that is nice and tight. You give it any little wiggle, it immediately moves the ball joint with it. Just a little bit there. Nothing. So,
heck yeah.
We got a good knuckle, which is nice. A little bit of a gamble, but I can't imagine that's a common problem, that the knuckle actually wears out. 90% of the time it's tight. It's just that the ball joint itself wears out. This was a little bit of an Australian anomaly that somehow it was loose.
Trouble down under.
Yeah. So while I did the wheel bearing, I threw some new wheel studs in there. Luckily, Adam got those right away because we also had a loose wheel stud in this hub, which was weird that the old one from this side has one wheel stud that's backed off a little bit. And the new one, which is not Australian, also had one wheel stud that was pushed out a little bit. Very strange. But luckily, Adam's great with the parts. So he ordered everything that he could think of that we would need, including the studs. So I pressed those in while I had it apart, and then put all the new wheel bearing in there, and now she's nice and smooth. It has all new studs.
Awesome. All right, now we're going to get to putting stuff on, and hopefully we can make some serious progress this evening. All right. So you saw a little bit of Sam wrapping up the front with that time lapse, but here we are, 1 a.m.
1 a.m.
Both getting a little tired, but I just wanted to show you what we accomplished in that time.
So here we go. This is the right side, driver side for this car. Um, all the front ends back together. That's the main thing that I was working on. Adam was finishing up doing some more of the bushing installs for the rear arms. That is still on the list. That's the next kind of project. All this stuff kind of takes a while to get in the groove and figure out where all your hardware is and where everything goes again, because it's been a few weeks since we had this apart. So Adam was basically prepping the rear some more, getting that ready to go while I was putting this back together. So this is all wrapped up, really. New control arms, upper and lower, new shocks with new springs. Well, new to us springs anyway. Um, New sway bar links. Those are some fancy aftermarket ones. New tie rods, inner and outer. Um, all the brakes are back together. There's actually new and pretty like all new brakes as of what, a few months, well,
That was like fall, but I mean, I
fall,
drove.
so less than a year ago.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
it was 6 months ago, and I drove for
yeah,
100 miles.
yeah, less, yeah. So
And I fought you the entire time because I didn't want to put new rotors on it because they were going to get rusty and terrible looking, and that's what they look like. But
right,
we've got a brake
so
upgrade anyway.
all new brakes. Yeah, so this is all back together. The front end is ready to go. If we had the wheels done and the rear done, we could drop it down on the ground. But so that's the thing, is that we have the rear to do and we still have the wheels to finish. But front end, front end is all done, which is nice. And check it off the list. Looks pretty nice. Some shiny parts, some not so shiny parts, but you know, the important parts are shiny. It's starting to look like a car again. Getting all its parts back together. Those are the last of the bushing installs Adam did. We're on some of these bad boys today. New shock is in the rear. New lowers with bushings. Well, new bushings in lowers. And obviously new ball joints. So this will be pretty quick going together when we get to it again, but it's 1 o'clock and I think we're going to call it, because if we stayed up to try and finish this, we'd be up for a very long time. So instead of half-assing it and starting part of it, not finishing it, we're just going to call it for tonight and on to the next one.
So overall, I think we made a lot of progress today.
Yeah.
Got the whole front end all together. Gonna need to loosely align things.
Yeah, everything's kind of set to neutral right now. We did get some of those alignment plates uh, to set the toe kind of generically.
No.
We'll just use a tape measure and try and keep the steering wheel straight. But we do have at least the slip plates to be able to allow the weight on the car and the tires to be able to move freely and not bind everything up. So that should actually be a legitimate adjustment. It's not going to be perfect, but should work correctly when we get to that point. And
Yeah, and
we'll do
we
that in
can
more detail.
we can
next.
definitely show you guys because it'll be our first time using something like that.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
other than like a legitimate like alignment rack,
right,
which
and
would
that's
have something like that, which
that's
you've used.
yeah, I've used that a lot, and
Yeah.
that's what I'm curious to see how similar this is going to be, or at least how well it works. I mean, obviously, it's not going to be an entire alignment rack,
Yeah.
but if at least we have the ability to do a good tape measure alignment where it's actually going to properly adjust the wheels with the weight on it, as opposed to starting it up and turning the wheel back and forth,
And
or
lifting it all up
lifting
and down
it
and up
up
and
and then
down.
down, and
Yeah.
all that. So
So
I
that
don't
should
know.
be
We'll
good.
see. But yeah, all the other adjustments are set to pretty much neutral. It's gonna have to be adjusted for sure.
Yeah.
But
that's cool, and it's somewhere to start.
yeah, it's all
And
tight. It's all together. It's all one piece. It's
then we gotta
certainly usable.
slap the rears together, which
Yep.
now those bushings are finally done, which we thought they were done, but
Yeah, I thought they were.
they never end.
Never
There's
ends.
more. I
Always.
want to see them in my sleep. And doing that Teflon tape trick, although I'm excited to find out how it works, it is an extra step, and
It's
it
a
is
lot more work.
very
It's an extra step with every single bushing.
yeah, and it's very fiddly.
Yeah.
In order to get that in there correctly, Sam had a pretty good system where he was like using the lube that they include, the grease that they include to, and he would put it like I don't even know how to explain that at this point, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Basically, you got to go in dry with the sleeve. That's the
Right.
tip. You put the
Right.
Teflon tape on the dry sleeve and you lube the hole.
Don't
And
forget the sleeve. Always use the sleeve.
There's no right way to say that. That
Yeah.
doesn't sound terrible.
Right.
But yeah, we got everything ready for the rear. We got this all torn apart. Gives me a whole ton of anxiety touching any of those trunk plastics because they cost more than my life. So, yeah, thanks for hanging out with us for another Friday night. Cheers. Thanks for watching.